Welcome to the Intuitive Therapist Podcast with Janis R. Cohen, therapist, clairvoyant, empath, and medium. Listen in as she takes a no-nonsense deep dive into real human struggles and how to resolve them. Janis will share channeled information from her spirit guide team, as well as the angels and archangels, to help you master your emotional, physical, financial, and spiritual destiny. And now, Janis R. Cohen.
Hey y'all, this is Janis Cohen, the Intuitive Therapist, here on the Intuitive Therapist Podcast. You know, I've studied many of the top masters of change over the years, and at the basis of their teaching is one thing that is the game changer. When I learned about this one concept that I'm about to share with you today, many years ago, when I first found out about it, it blew me away. It's such a simple concept, but I'd never thought about it before. And once I began applying this one key thing to my life every day, all I can say is that my life became exponentially better. And I found myself letting go of any desperation, fear, or uncertainty. And feeling those things about anything in my life really wasn't necessary anymore. It's almost as if I was worry-free. You see, when I applied this one thing each day, I couldn't help but experience the best that each day had to offer. And like I said, this is no joke. I'm serious. I'm not bullshitting you at all. None of what I say today is woo-woo, even though I can be kind of woo-woo. It's not. It's not some ethereal concept that you've heard. You really haven't. And one that is too mystical or out of touch to use. And once you hear what it is, and you will, and how you can begin to apply it immediately, and I do mean immediately, and you will see how everything in your life begins to shift. Suddenly, life becomes easier. You're more in flow, and you're less stressed. This one thing, this exact thing that will bring you all of the big stuff that you want is so easy. I've talked before about how partnering with the universe brings about what you energetically put out into it. If you focus on lack, the universe will respond with more lack. If you focus on abundance and truly vibrate with that feeling of abundance, well, the universe responds with abundance. The universe meets you where you're at, always. End of story. And you can't fake a high vibration. I know I've tried it, and I just couldn't fake it. It just didn't work, because just underneath the surface of that fake high vibration you're trying to make is the real belief and the real vibration that you have. And typically, you're vibrating with doubt, fear, distrust, and suspicion, among many other things. If you don't truly vibrate with what you want, the universe, it can't work with you to get it. And if you truly don't believe that the universe will deliver the good stuff to you, then it's going to do exactly that. It's going to do exactly what you say it will do, not deliver the good stuff because you don't believe it in the first place. Is any of this making sense? I know this stuff is not new for you to hear, but I'm trying to say it in a way that you can best digest it. So here's the thing. As humans in this 3D experience called Earth, in this world, we are primarily taught to use our brains for learning, thinking, decision-making, rationalizing, and analyzing. And unless you happen to become aware of some spiritual concepts and lean into them, learning how to use your brain differently, then you're just going to stay in this limited place of using your brain for these few things. And most of us, we don't even really consider the idea that we could actually influence our brain and how it operates. And even more of us don't believe that we can actually make our brains do what we tell it to do. Now, we could tell our bodies to do things, but our brains, it's got to sound kind of weird. And it sounded weird to me too. And I thought, I can really command my brain? How crazy is that? Right? But you can. You can program your brain to essentially be your bitch. When I heard that, I thought, get out. I'm going to try this. So that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. And I'm going to show you exactly how I did that and how I do it every single day. What if you could actually, and I mean really, take control over your subconscious mind, not your conscious mind, but your subconscious mind, so that by default, it would do whatever you commanded it to do. Sounds like magic, huh? And you're probably saying, I don't really know if that's possible. Or you might be saying, is that possible? And I'm telling you, it is. A few years back, as an avid podcaster listener myself, because I'm always looking for wisdom and inspiration, I listened to 2 different podcast episodes on 2 different podcasts, but they ended up talking about the same one thing. And that one thing was a game changer in the lives of these 2 multi-millionaires. I listened to everything from spirituality, metaphysics to business, abundance, manifestation, everything. And by the way, these were 2 people, one male, one female, who made a shit ton of money and who understand the laws of the universe and how they work to bring them what they want. They literally manifested their dream lives by using this one strategy that I'm about to share with you. Clearly, I needed to hear what they had to say, and I soaked up every single minute of their interviews. And in fact, I have actually started to follow them and listen to more of their wisdom. And the one thing they did that was the total game changer in terms of their manifestation abilities was that they cultivated self-integrity. This one thing allowed them to literally change how their brain worked. And it changed it at the deepest level, the subconscious level, so that what was once difficult for them to do and call in now became instantaneous. I'm serious. I've done this myself. This shit works, and I'm going to tell you exactly how to do it. So, like I said, I've worked on this in my life, and when I tell you that it will work for you, it will if you do it the way I say you do it. And it's a conscious and intentional process at the beginning for the most part. But if you do it, you're going to reap the benefits. So here's what self-integrity is in a nutshell. Self-integrity is when you keep your word to yourself. It's the promises you make to yourself that you keep. That's it. So then if this is the path to everything anybody wants, why don't more people do this? Why don't more people know about this? Why is it so much easier for us to keep our word to everybody else but ourselves? I believe, as a human being, what I've come to uncover about the human life or humanity or humans is that it's the case that most people don't keep their words to themselves because they don't have the same kind of accountability that they would when they tell somebody else they're going to do something for somebody else. People know when we promised to do something because we've either directly told them or we've communicated it in some form, right? It becomes known. It's out there. We risk judgment, rejection, and criticism if we don't do what we say we're going to do because it includes somebody else. Now, when it comes to keeping our word to ourselves, it's an entirely different story, right, y'all? For some reason, it's harder to do, and for some, next to impossible. Guilt, sense of failure, lack of confidence, and even shame haunts us so much about how we've let ourselves down in so many ways in the past that we just blow our personal promises off because it's easier to do than to face how we're letting ourselves down over and over and over again. I did this for a long time in my life. And I most often, I kept my word to others. Like I always say, my word is my bond. If I tell you I'm going to do something, I will do it. I felt like a fraud, and even more, I felt like if anybody knew how many promises I had actually broken to myself, they'd look at me with disgust and worse, at least what I fear they would do, they'd pity me. And I don't know about you, but I sure as shit don't want to worry about any of that. I don't want people feeling like, who is she to be talking to people about all of this stuff when she can't follow through with herself? And I sure as shit don't want pity. Can you see the times when you fail to keep your promises to yourself? What percentage of the time? And really be honest with yourself, because just like keeping your word to yourself is between you and God, right? What percentage of time do you really keep your promises to yourself fully? Like, in other words, if you say you're going to do something, you do it completely. What percentage do you keep your promises to yourself and do them completely? I'll tell you that over time, my percentage has increased, but even still, that percentage is nothing really to brag about. I'm on a continuum of progress with that. I still fall off the wagon and say that I'm going to do something, and I don't. We all do. Even the most prolific self-promise keepers, they don't do it 100% of the times. They don't stay in self-integrity. It's next to impossible. Otherwise, you kind of really be close to perfect. And none of us are. They fall off the wagon, but they get back on the self-integrity ride and move forward faster than ever. Truth is that when you keep your promises to yourself, you build trust in yourself. And when you trust yourself, you can trust that the universe will undoubtedly meet you at the level that you're at. You trust the universe to deliver things to you. Your trust in the universe is commensurate with the trust in yourself to keep your promises to yourself. Does that make sense? So however much you trust yourself to follow through, that's pretty much how much you trust the universe to follow through for you. Let me say that again. Your trust in the universe to deliver things to you is commensurate. It's equal to the trust in yourself to keep your promises to yourself. I just want you to think about that. It's a big one. Every agreement you make with yourself is a promise. And every single time you fail to follow through completely with your promise, you train your brain to ignore your request and therefore not believe you. Think about just one time that you said you were going to wake up early, right, and go to the gym. And you woke up because of your alarm, right? The alarm went off. But when you went back to bed, you told yourself, I'll do it tomorrow. I'm too tired to do it tomorrow. Now, by all accounts, you may have really meant that you will have the intention to go to the gym early in the morning. But what really happens is that your brain says, well, she didn't do it today. Why bother even doing it tomorrow? Like, we know she's not going to follow through. And then you make it easier for you to not do the things that you say you're going to do. How you do one thing is how you do everything. And how you do the small things is how you do the big things. I'm going to read that again. How you do one thing is how you do everything. And how you do the small things is how you do the big things. If you don't trust yourself to complete minor tasks, how in God's name are you going to trust yourself to do anything big, like build a business or massively increase your income? You see, it's perfectly okay to not do something. If you're like, you know what? No, I'm not going to do that. Fine. But what's not okay is that you say you're going to do something and then you don't. That is the one reason why people fail at anything. They don't keep their word to themselves. If you've been wondering why you just can't seem to get your shit together enough to reach that big goal of yours, it's this. You are lacking somewhere in self-integrity. If you don't honor your own word, you'll fail every single time you attempt to do anything. And the only reason why I can say that is because I have lived it. I know the differences, right? You have to cultivate the habit to honor your word regardless of what's going on in your life, regardless. And regardless of what anybody else does, your word to yourself is your bond. Imagine what's on the line if you don't keep your promises to yourself. Imagine what it's already cost you because you haven't kept your word to yourself. I mean, really think about this. People don't talk about this. I guarantee you this is probably the first time you have heard this, that every single time you fail to keep a promise to yourself, it is costing you time, energy, money, joy, peace, whatever it is, freedom. What is at stake for you if you keep failing yourself? There's no mystery here, my friends. Each time you fail to keep your word to yourself, you tell your brain that you are untrustworthy. Ooh, that is rough. That's a rough one to accept. And your brain, your ego will keep you in your comfort zone, hiding away from who you could become and from what you really want in your life. Look, truth is, no one is ever in full integrity with themselves 100% of the time. But you can be in integrity with yourself most of the time. And you know when you're out of integrity, we all do, we feel it. We feel guilty about the stuff we don't do, that we say we're going to do, or we go into denial or rationalization about why we didn't do what we promised ourselves we were going to do. We try to bury this on top of all the other times we didn't keep our word to ourselves. And with that cumulative effect, we begin to believe that we can't ever truly rely on ourselves to do, well, anything worthwhile. We start to believe, this whole concept of manifestation. It's like everybody thinks it's so ethereal, but it's really not. It involves two things. One, self-integrity, and two, to vibrate at the level of that thing that you want and know that it's yours already. To vibrate at that level of certainty. That is all manifestation is. It really is. It's to believe without a shadow of a doubt that what you want is already here. That's it. It's a big thing and a little thing. So, our self-esteem erodes when we keep lying to ourselves and we keep failing ourselves. It can go to the point where you start to abuse substances to cover up the shame, or that you become ashamed and you end up feeling resourceless. I've been there. I hate that place. I don't know about you. I hate that place. But if you can learn to trust yourself completely by doing what I'm about to teach you, I'm going to tell you how. If I can turn my situation around and learn to trust myself and be more committed every day to all of the things that I say I'm going to do, then I know you can too. This is not rocket science. According to Jim Fortin, his last name is spelled Fortin, a well-known leader in subconscious self-transformation, he talks about two characteristics of self-integrity. One, commitment, that you finish things you start and you are dedicated to achieving the outcome. You're like, that's it, I'm going to do it. Like this morning I woke up and I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to do 2 podcast episodes and finish chapter 6 of my book. I'm going to do it. Second is responsibility. If you're disciplined towards achieving your outcome, right? You're organized and you prioritize doing what you have to do to keep your promise to yourself. That is the most important thing. To be committed and to, without a shadow of a doubt, no matter what is going on in your life, no matter what is going on with anybody else, you say, I'm going to do this, then you do it. But how do you even get there? How do you even cultivate those two things? Here's the deal. In my opinion, it takes 2 things. One is, actually 3. One is you're so sick and tired of living the way you're living. You're like, oh no, I want to be in the highest position possible to call in the things that I want in the easiest way. And the second is that you have to make a decision, right? You have to make a decision to do those things. The third is you have to want it bad enough. You have to want to change badly enough to commit and take responsibility for how you honor yourself and keep your promises to yourself. It's just small steps. It's just small steps. And here's exactly how you're going to become the best, most amazing, and trustworthy self-promise keeper ever. You just start small. Literally. That's all you do. You train your brain to do what you tell it to do, not the other way around. You command it to complete what you promise yourself you want to complete. And if you do this enough times throughout the day and for a long enough time, and I have to tell you, for most of us, if you do this every day, it's not going to take very long for it to become your default. Even with just a few days of success, you're really starting on that journey of being the master of your brain. You've cornered the market on self-trust. So, to train your brain to do whatever you want it to do, you have to train yourself to be in integrity with the smallest of things. You want to create small patterns with your brain so that it becomes used to you being clear, committed, and invested in keeping your promises to yourself. So when I wake up in the morning, I'll tell you what I do. Very first thing is I thank God for giving my soul back to me. And I say, thank you so much. I appreciate it for returning my soul back to me. Abundant is your faithfulness. That means that God has enough faith in me to give me another day. And I am always grateful for that. And then what I do is I get up out of bed. Either I sit up or I hop up out of bed and I say, this is going to be a great day. And I will do everything I say I'm going to do. And universe, I want you to help me. Make it easy. And I feel very deeply when I say that. I really connect to the truth of that because I'm living it already. And what's really cool is what I'm about to tell you now. When you wake up, let's say, for example, and walk in the bathroom to take a shower, I just want you to announce out loud. This may sound so silly, y'all, but this works. This is how it all starts. Okay, I'm getting into a shower now. I'm going to take a shower now. As you turn on the water. And as you get in the shower, I want you to say it again. I'm taking a shower now. And guess what? You just kept a promise to yourself. It's that easy. Now, remember I said that you want to create a pattern with your brain so that your brain cooperates with you. Okay, so throughout your day, tell yourself what you are about to do right before you do it. That's it. And then you begin the task. Like, I'm looking at my water bottle and I say, oh, I'm going to have a sip of water. And I have a sip of water. Or, like I said, today I said to myself, I'm going to do 2 podcast episodes and finish chapter 6 in my book. And guess what? I did those things. I had a certainty, committed, I took responsibility, I believed it, boom, done. Each small task that you approach just tells yourself that you're going to do the very thing that you want to do. Like, I'm going to call X back right now, or I'm going to make dinner right now. And you are literally, you go into the kitchen and you say to yourself, I'm going to make dinner right now. I am making dinner. I'm going to fix my salad now. I'm going to read the book now. And as you begin each task, simply command yourself again to do it as you do it. And as you do this with everything you're doing, and as you complete each of the things that you say you're going to do, you actually begin to build that solid bond of trust with yourself. But even more importantly, y'all, you are now able to actually feel what self-integrity feels like. I mean, can't you tell the difference between what it feels like to do what you say you're going to do and follow through versus saying something that you're going to do and not following through? You can't describe this feeling to somebody else. It's impossible. The same way you can't describe what an orgasm feels like, or what being in love really feels like, or how strawberry tastes unless you've actually tasted a strawberry, right? Can't. You can describe it, but you can't give somebody the experience of it unless they have the experience of it. So as you build up small wins, and as you command your brain each time to do what you tell it to do, suddenly doing bigger things becomes much easier. Like telling yourself, beginning of the month, this month I'm going to lose 5 pounds. Every day, with everything you do, I'm losing 5 pounds. Or in the next 3 months, I'll make $30,000 in my business. That's it. Done. Or this year will be at least a $200,000 year or more. Done. Like some of those sound like big things, but that's my point. If you accumulate the wealth of trust by doing all of these small things every day, all day, then none of this seems impossible. Earning $200,000 or more a year does not seem impossible when you are following through on every single thing you say you'll do. Period. You develop a certainty that you never had before, all because you told yourself that you would keep your promises, and you did. Your brain becomes hardwired now because of the repetition, and it goes into a higher quality of survival mode. Because the bigger the promise, the greater desire your brain has to rise to that new vibration of your functioning, to that new command. When you make your new baseline for how you're living your life, your brain will respond and survive in that vibration. Does any of this make sense? Is it coming together for you now? Once you reach this level of living each day, where you command your brain to create the things you once thought were next to impossible to manifest, then you can just keep reaching higher and higher and higher and achieve more and more and more. It's insane how well this works. I am living proof of it. I see messages in car tags, in numbers, all the time. That's one of the ways I get messages. And I'm constantly seeing 7s and 8s and 2s. And 7s mean you're on path. 8 is all about abundance, and 2 is all about partnership, and that everything is working out for the greatest good of all. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And just this morning, I got the number 78, which means everything that I'm doing right now, I am at the highest vibration, calling in all of the financial abundance possible. And I started giggling. I giggled so much because I was like, hell yes. I know. And I knew that to be true. I knew it. It's a synchronicity. So simply begin today to do what you say you're going to do, and just keep doing that. And pretty soon you're going to understand what I mean about what self-integrity and self-trust actually feels like. This is no mystery. These people do exactly what I'm telling you to do. That's why they've gotten where they've gotten. It's all of these things. But you got to follow through with yourself first. You will know when you have fallen off the wagon, and you will more easily and more quickly get back on track with simple acts of fidelity to self. That's really all it is. Fidelity to self. And in short, simply say, every day, today I will. Today I will do. Today I will have. Today I will be. Today I will complete. And then do it and see how your day and life unfolds. I promise y'all, this works. And you know what I would love? Try it. Try it for a day or two and reach out to me and tell me how life is going for you, how you feel, what else has become easier, what you manifest. I wish you a blessed day, a wonderful week, and as always, live intuitively.
Thanks for listening to The Intuitive Therapist. If you like what you heard, the best compliment you can give us is to share this podcast with a friend. And be sure to give us some stars and a favorable review at Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen in.